So let's look back over the events of the day in this uncut video diary. I got to sleep at like 2 in the morning, so it wasn't too surprising when I didn't wake up until around 11. Got on the road in Iowa and really was kind of enjoying just the very desolate farmland type of scenery. I had also found a shipment last night that I bid on and ended up seeing had been accepted this morning. That's actually what took me off of the expressway and down these side roads. But the person who booked the shipment was having a hard time getting in touch with the seller who would have the item for me to pick up. So I spent some extra time just dilly-dallying, taking care of other little things, and honestly still having extra time. But the seller did end up getting back directly with me after I reached out, and he was a really great guy. He ended up subscribing both to this channel and my drummer channel, Drummer Every Day, if you happen to be interested in that. And he had sold this tub. He shared a lot about the town of Clinton. Apparently it was a big lumber baron town, lots of incredible old mansions with lumber from Minnesota, marble from Italy, and apparently some of those have since been demolished. Now, since all the lumber is gone, Iowa and lots of Minnesota as well is land of corn, and he actually works in a corn processing plant. So they create everything from cornstarch to corn syrup to corny jokes to cornucopias. I don't know, anything related to corn at all, they do it there. So this was a really great experience with this pickup, and it went overall really smoothly because once he was available to meet, he got two other people around very quickly as well, and the four of us were able to quite easily get the tub loaded. And it was a pleasure talking with him as well during the process, so that made it feel like it went very, very quickly. Then I got back on the road. There's the U-ship process there, and by this time it was already almost sunset, and I had only traveled about 70 miles from where I started the day. So it was a very slow day, but I have the extra time built in, and this shipment is giving me an extra $350 approximately, which is a small addition relative to the $2,400 price on the door, but a nice addition that covers almost all the gas, if I look at it that way, or covers all the hotel stays along the whole way, even if I stay at a hotel every night, if you look at it that way. So all in all, I would say that it was worth the time that it took today, and gave me a nice slow pace in the day as well. So I have no complaints, and I was glad that we were able to ultimately work it out to do this pickup. Another way that I look at it is I'd far rather have an extra $350 that comes at the cost of spending a day along the way than maybe spending multiple days to make the same amount on the tail end of the trip by adding a whole nother day of driving. A day of waiting around is really a lot easier than a day of driving. And to be honest, I could quite easily get more than $350 in a day if I find the right shipment, but if I don't, then I could just end up waiting on that end as well. This was such a beautiful day. I mean, you're getting all those shots of the scenery and the sunset and everything else because it was just a really beautiful day. And unlike in Michigan when I left, when it was kind of frigid cold, it really wasn't uncomfortably cold, and I was even in a t-shirt as we were loading up the tub and feeling quite comfortable with that. So I did get a question on some items that I put in a bid on going from around the Boise area to south of Portland, and I bid $350. I would guess it would add another 100 miles or less, probably less, on the tail end of my trip driving south from Portland to wherever exactly the drop-off was. It was some obscure town on the coast. So for an extra $70 or so, the $300 would be well worth it. But it looks like the person who listed these two items, it was very small. It was two cabinets. They fit in the cab of the truck. Small wooden cabinets. It looks like he was about to accept my bid because the customers don't see what UShip calls the service provider fee until they go in to book that shipment. And then UShip hits them with this surprise fee, and this is not the first time I've had somebody ask me, hey, what's this fee all about? Why are you charging me this? I do not charge them that, and in fact, I also get charged by UShip. So they take a double cut, and none of it is disclosed on the front end. Maybe if you dig really, really deep in the fine print, but UShip suggests that it is essentially free. And obviously, why would it be free? They've got to make money somehow, but it could be much more transparent. So this may have cost me the shipment because, like I said, if he's asking that question, it means he was at the verge of checking out, because that's when that fee comes in. So he was at the verge of checking out, and then he had some second thoughts once he got hit with that fee and had some questions, and also now wants to know about insurance, even though his transport's a very easy one and a very low risk one. So that's a little bit annoying, but the best I can do is give honest answers and try to also, in the process, kind of thoroughly address his concerns and let him know that he has options. What I might also end up needing to do is following this up with a lower bid if see an acceptance come through within the next day or so. Give him a little more incentive to take my bid, which is a bummer because I would rather not lose money to that. But at the same time, I could afford to go a little lower and still be perfectly fine and be hitting my target rate for the extra miles. I had a semi-truck driver flash his brights at me incessantly and use his right turn signal to indicate I should pull over, and I don't see exactly what he was concerned about. I went and checked the load very thoroughly, pulled over onto the shoulder immediately. There's nothing going on here that is of concern. The funny thing is, I got back on the road, I ended up passing him again because he's going like 45 miles an hour, and he did the exact same thing again. And I stopped again, and I checked even more thoroughly. I pulled into a rest area, was barely able to squeeze in here next to this oversized load that was well over the line here. But I checked everything again, and I went around, I checked even the lights and the chains, made sure nothing was dragging, looked all around on the trailer itself besides the load, and there was just absolutely no problem at all. So I was like, okay, thank you for your concern. I appreciate the attempt to help, but maybe just try to focus on getting your semi up over 45 on the freeway. I think I'm good. Check the gas mileage again, getting about 13.15 or 16 miles per gallon on this tank of gas. So 167 miles on whatever that was. I actually forgot the number there. But something I'm pretty happy with. Finally, I stopped for the night at a hotel. I'm still in Iowa, so not a whole lot of progress today forward, but that's okay. I have the time. This is a pretty trashy hotel, actually, or motel, but it's just nice sometimes to see something that is not corporate and standardized. So I actually appreciate it. I also appreciate you watching the video, and I will catch you later on this channel.